Hi guys, it's JB here with a new video. Yes, it's that time of year again where I've got to get my predictions in for the forthcoming Premier League season, and I'm going to go I'm going to go in the traditional order from 20th down to up to first. So we're going to go in ascending order from 20th to first. So let's start. So let's not mess around. Let's get on with it straight away. And let's start with the three teams who I think will get relegated. Let's start with who's going to finish 20th. And in 20th place, I'm sorry to say, I mean, I like them. They're a good little side. I've got a lot of time for them. But I'm going to go for Brentford. Simple reason really is they're new to Premier League football. It's going to be a difficult season for them because, you know, it's a tough league. You know, they've come up through the Championship. They've played some cracking football to get there. Getting there, and it's an amazing achievement for them to even be in the Premier League. First time in something like 70 years they're there, but I just can't see, to be honest, I can't see them getting, you know, if they play the way they are. I mean, they're a decent side. They've got Ivan Toney up front who'll get them a lot of goals, but he hasn't played at Premier League level regularly enough. So my worry would be, do they have enough goals? Can they keep the bigger teams out? Can they get results against teams around them? I'm not sure if they can, but we'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to go for Brentford to finish 20th. 19th, yes. I always back them to go down every single season. And again, this year, no exception. Brighton and Hove Albion, yes, they have to go this season. They surely must. No disrespect to Brighton supporters, but they've been lucky the last 2 or 3 years to have stayed in the division. They should have gone down 2 or 3 years ago, but there you go. I just don't think they haven't had it enough for me. You know, I mean, the difficulty is, can they keep efforts out? They've lost Matt Ryan, I think. He's a far better goalkeeper than what they had. Losing Matt Ryan is a huge blow for them. They'll need more pie fit and striking. They've still got Danny Welbeck. Is there enough goals in them? That's the only problem I've got. They do leak a few goals themselves. I think this could be, I'm sorry Brighton fans, I think this could be the day that your team's luck over the last couple of years finally runs out. So I'm going for Brighton to finish 19th. In 18th place, this was a toss-up between Norwich and Watford. I've gone for Norwich, unfortunately, and again, it's the same really as Brentford. They play very attack-minded football. They play on, you know, they go bounding forward and could leave themselves open. Obviously, they'll have to rely on the likes of Todd Cantwell and Timo Pukki. Two of their key players at the moment, but it would have been a tough. I think it's going to be tough for them. They'll give it a good go. Daniel Farke really gave it a good go. They just finished rock bottom. They just happened to finish rock bottom last time they were in the Premier League, but they recovered well. Took the Championship title superbly last year, and will be a tough test for any opponent, especially at Carrow Road. But I've got a feeling that if they play an attractive open style of play, then they might get found out, and I think that's why Norwich will just finish inside the bottom three. But it was a close one between them and Watford. And speaking of the Hornets, I've got them to finish in 17th place. I think they'll do enough. You know, it's going to be tough, but Watford have got some good players there. Ben Foster, an experienced goalkeeper. Will Hughes, a very good midfielder, although Burnley have been linked with him in the last few weeks. Whether or not that will come, I do not know. They've got some really good players in there. Ismail Sarr has stayed loyal with them, has helped them get back up. I think they'll just do enough. Again, they are a tougher. They're a tougher nut to crack, I think, defensively. Do play decent football. I think their form at Vicarage Road will be key for them staying in the division. I've got no doubts about that, and as a result, they're just going to pick Norwich to it. But So I'm going for Watford to finish 17th. In 16th place, Crystal Palace. I think Patrick Vieira has come in, new club. You know, this is his first big job as a Premier League manager. Managed abroad, of course. I think this is going to be a tough one for him this year because I look at the Palace squad. They've got a lot of outgoings. You know how they've lost Gary Cahill and people like that. This is going to be the key test for Vieira's management skills and his recruiting because he's taking over from a man from Roy Hodgson, who is a proper Palace man. Obviously they'll have the crowd behind them, the 12th man in the Homestyle Road, and I think that could be the key. I think they'll be okay. I think they'll stay up, and I think they'll finish. I don't think they'll finish a dodgy 16th. I think they'll finish a very comfortable 16th, about 5 or 6 points above about 5 or 6 points above the likes of Watford and Norwich, whatever. But it's going to be a tough first season for Vieira, having to pick up the pieces of a lot of outgoings, and including the previous manager Roy Hodgson. So I'd expect a tough old season ahead for Crystal Palace, and I think they're going to finish 16th. 15th place, I've gone for Southampton. A difficult one, Southampton. A team that on some days they can blow hot, they can play really good football. On others, they will concede a bucket load of goals. And Ralph Hasenhüttl has played 2 games in 2 seasons, and they've lost 9-0 on both occasions. So Southampton are a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde side. They've got more than enough in their squad to stay in the division. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've got Che Adams. They've just signed Adam Armstrong from Blackburn. I think that will be a good signing for them. Shane Burnley didn't go after him, but we'll get on to Burnley in a few minutes' time. But Southampton should be okay. I think they'll do more than enough. 15th, I think, will be a decent season for them. Again, it's whether they can keep clean sheets, keep the ball out. They are a little bit open defensively, but they've got more than enough, and I think they should stay up very comfortably. So I'm going to go for Southampton to finish in 15th place. In 14th place, providing if they sign Joe Willock, and apparently a fee has been agreed with Arsenal for Joe Willock, and providing that they keep St Maximin fit and they keep the likes of Callum Wilson fit, then I think Newcastle will finish in 14th place. There's a lot of stuff bounding around St James's Park that that Steve Bruce is on borrowed time and things like that. He might be the first manager gone. I don't think he will be somehow. I think people don't give Steve Bruce the credit that he deserved. I mean, they were having a difficult run throughout, the middle to late middle of the season, and then in the last sort of 10 games they really stepped it up. They signed Joe Willock on loan, which was an inspired signing from Bruce, and they picked it up and absolutely took it by storm, and they had some great results towards the end and deserved to finish at least 13th or 14th, and I think Bruce should get credit for that. Now, if they have a run in the cup, they could actually have a decent season. I think they'll finish 14th. Potentially they could finish higher, but 14th I think at the moment would be a good enough season. A very comfortable 14th for Newcastle, I would have thought. Now, I've got Burnley at the moment down to 13th, in 13th place. I'm still hoping that we can sign some wingers and a couple of midfielders. I think defensively we're fine. I know we'll keep clean sheets with Pope, Tarkowski and me, and the rest of the back four will be fine. I think Nathan Collins is a decent addition and Hennessy a backup, but we haven't really signed enough quality further forward for my liking, and I'm very that gives me cause for concern. I think we're good enough to finish 13th if these scenarios happen. One, we get 2 decent wingers and a midfield player. 2, the players stay injury free, and 3, our home form picks up, because at Turf Moor we were shocking last season, and that's where we've got to go back to basics. We've got to make ourselves difficult to beat at home. We'll have the 12th man there this time. That's the that's the key factor as well. But we need new signings, and there's also the uncertainty of Sean Dyche now. If we can get Dyche on a new contract, get two quality wingers in, a central midfield player, and then I think we'll be okay this season for sure. But for us to finish in that position, those things have to come to fruition, and Alan Pace really needs to get his act together now to back the manager and to back his judgment and actually spend some serious money, because quite frankly we need at least another 3 or 4 players at least to really get us moving up the table. But at the moment, subject to those conditions, I've got Burnley to finish 13th. In 12th, I've gone for Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've got some key men, of course, the last couple of years. Raul Jimenez back from that horrible head injury will be a big boost to them, but they've got a new manager. Nuno's gone to Tottenham. We'll have to see how this new guy gets on. I think it will be really, really tough, to be honest. For them, and I think they'll have a. I think they're probably going to cup run in one of the cups, maybe the Carabao, maybe try and have a go at winning a trophy or something. But I think it'll be a middle of the road season for Wolves in the league, and they'll show some glimpses, and they'll show glimpses of what they're all about against the bigger teams, obviously. But as regards pulling up trees in the Premier League, then I think it's just going to be a middle of the road season. So I'm going to go for new manager. Will he get the players adapted to his ways of thinking? I'm not so sure, but steady 12th for me for Wolves this season. Maybe an outside bet for maybe one of the cups. In 11th place, I've actually gone for West Ham United. Now, last season was a tremendous season for them. They did really, really well. Battled very, very hard, and they had an amazing season. Will they be able to replicate that? I'm not so sure. I think 11th would be probably the best they could hope for this season. It's and a key at that, they've got to keep hold of their bigger players like Declan Rice and people like that. It will be tough for them, but they've got the best. I think they've got a good manager in David Moyes, so I've got no qualms at all about West Ham staying in the division. I think they'll stay comfortably. They've got a good side. It's just whether they can replicate last season's form this season, and that is probably going to be the crucial factor why they'll probably finish a little bit further down the table this season, and that's why I've gone for West Ham to finish 11th, but they'll still have a decent season nonetheless. Place, I've gone for Aston Villa. Dean Smith had a good season. They finished about mid-table last season, did really well after the first season where they just about survived on a bit of dodging, bit of Hawkeye. But last season they proved a very good side, and obviously at the hub of that was Jack Grealish. Now Jack Grealish is not there now for this season. Will it affect them that much? Not so much. I think obviously other players will have to start stepping up to the plate, as it were, but I don't think there's any much doubt about that. I think they've lost John Terry as well, so but I think Villa they've signed some really good players. There was rumours that Burnley's Jack McNeil were on their way down. I hope we don't get him. There was also rumours that Everton are after McNeil, but back with Aston Villa, I think they'll have a decent season, have a proper go at one of the cups and maybe try and win one. But top 10 progress for Villa. They should be a top 10 club on stature and history alone. So I would expect them to be in the top 10 this year. So I'm going for Villa to finish in 10th place. Again, it's subject to whether they lose Harry Kane or not. That's Tottenham. I don't know what to think of Tottenham at the moment. It's the Harry Kane saga is probably going to hurt them a lot. Because does he want to be a Spurs player? Does he not want to be a Spurs player? I think the question will be for Spurs, how, if they were to sell Kane to Manchester City, one, how long would they leave it until, if they did sell Kane, how long would they leave it to before buying players? And secondly, is Nuno Santo the right man for the job? Considering, could he do better than a Jose Mourinho, for example? Time will tell in the next 9 months whether he will or not. But I have my doubts about Nuno. He plays some great football, plays attractive football, looks really good on the eye. Certainly at Wolves, he's good for a club like Wolves, but he's now taken a big step up at Tottenham, and I've got a funny feeling that it could end in tears for Spurs this season. They might win a cup with a bit of luck, but they need there's a lot of soul searching to be done, especially with the Harry Kane situation, which is, to be fair, if true, then it's a complete shambles. But subject to certain things, I've gone for Spurs to finish. Sadly for Spurs fans, that place for you this season, Mike. Place, Russ will be pleased with this one. I've gone for Leeds. I think Leeds were one of the more attractive football sides last season. They played some good stuff. I commentated on them a couple of times last season. They had some impressive wins. I did 2 of their most impressive victories of the season. They beat Aston Villa 3-0, just weeks after Villa knocked 7 past Liverpool. So, Leeds proved a lot last season that they are a good side. In the Premier League, Bielsa's got them playing a good style of play. They've got the right manager. They've got the right team. Calvin Phillips has been an absolute star for them in the last 18 months. Was a star in England during the recent European Championships. Leeds will have a good season. What I'd love to see Leeds do, I think they'll finish 8th. I don't think there's much doubt about that. They're definitely top 8 material, the way they play football. What I'd like to see from Leeds is have a go in one of the cups and try and at least win something. The Leeds fans have been waiting a long time for some major silverware. They haven't won anything major since '92. So a run in the Carabao or the FA Cup would be a welcome boost to the Leeds supporters. But as far as league position concerned, absolute top 8 material. They've got the right manager. They've got the right players at the moment. They've got a good squad, strong squad, playing nice football. So Leeds should be okay. Top 10, absolutely for sure. 8th place for me. In 7th place, I've gone for Everton. So Rafa's come in. I think he'll do better than Ancelotti did. I think Ancelotti used Everton, sadly, as a stopgap for Real Madrid. We all know he's loving with Real Madrid. But Rafa, proven winner. He's proved it across the city. You look at Newcastle, what he achieved there on hardly any budget. Think what he could do on a bit more of a bigger budget at Everton. He's got a good squad. He's got a good strike force. He's got Duncan Ferguson assisting him as well, Mr. Everton. So you've got a lot of good people there at Everton. They've got Jordan Pickford. They've got Calvert-Lewin. They've got Tom Davies, James Rodriguez. If they can get these guys playing, get a couple of fresh signings in, I can't see why they can't win a trophy as well as finish 7th. I think they could win the Carabao this year. They're my tip for the Carabao Cup this year, Everton. I like them. They're a good club, and I think it's about time the Evertonians had a bit of silverware to put on the sideboard, because it must be disheartening when the other side of Merseyside is winning all the trophies a lot of the time. So, and Everton, I think they are my tip for the Carabao this year. So I think 7th place in the Carabao Cup would be a magnificent season for all Evertonians, and that's what I'm going for them today. 6th place, I'm going for Arsenal. A bit more of an improvement on last season I'm hoping for. They're in for some really good players. Ben White will be a good addition to the defensive ranks from Brighton. I rate him as a centre back. Did magnificently in the one season he was at the Amex last season. There's rumours that Ramsdale's coming. They've got to keep their players on side. They've got to keep the likes of Lacazette and Aubameyang happy. It's going to be a tough job for Arteta. He's obviously favourite to be sacked by the bookmakers. But if he can finish 6th, I've also tipped them to win the FA Cup this season. I think they're a good cup side. I think the FA Cup would be a good addition for Arsenal. a bit more silverware, and then the fans could just give that a little bit of respite. But they need a good start in the league. They could potentially finish fourth or fifth with a bit of luck, but realistically, I think six is probably the best that Arsenal could hope for this season. But the FA Cup, a good run in the cup, as I say, they're my tip to win the FA Cup this season. So yeah, I would say sixth place in the FA Cup for Arsenal will represent small progress, but in the right direction for Arsenal. Place, I've gone for the current FA Cup holders and Charity Shield winners, Leicester City. Leicester, what a marvellous season they had last year. They were in the top four until the last couple of weekend match-up days, and they just fell out at the final hurdle. But massive. Well, you can't really call the FA Cup consolation. That was massive for Leicester winning the cup last season. Against all the odds, they were up against the Chelsea side, who 3 weeks later went on to win European football's greatest prize. I think it's going to be a tough whole season. They'll have a go at challenging in the top four. There's no doubt about it. And Brendan Rodgers will keep the bulk of his squad he's got. If he can keep Tillmans, that's a huge bonus. James Maddison, the subject of speculation regarding Arsenal. Is it a step forward? Is it a step back? I think he should stay at Leicester, quite honestly. I think he's got more chance of success there. Although I have tipped Arsenal to win the cup. But in terms of Premier League, I think he's better off at Leicester at the moment. Brilliantly managed by Brendan Rodgers. Plays for him. He's won 2 trophies. He's won the Charity Shield to start the season. They'll push for the top 4, but I think they'll just finish just short, considering the strength and depth of the top 4 that I'm going to mention now. Leicester to finish a creditable 5th, I think. Now the top 4. And I'm going for 4th place, Chelsea. I think Champions League football will probably be the priority. They have won the European Cup. I think there's still they're a couple, 2, maybe 3 players short of what they were. I did back them to win the league last season, and they fell short. And I think that, whether they'll go higher than 4th will depend on whether Havertz hits form, whether Timo Werner now has had a proper pre-season to prove his worth. Those questions are unanswered. Thomas Tuchel, we know what he's proven it. He's proven at every level now. He's won a trophy for Chelsea, but this is his first full season. This is the acid test for Tuchel. He's won the European Cup. Now the pressure's on him a little bit because he's won that European Cup. He was only in the manager's hot seat 3 months when he won it. So, he's had a full pre-season. If he can get that team firing and also they could finish higher than 3rd, but I've got severe doubts that they won't. And I think they'll just come up short and finish 4th, but they'll still reach Champions League football for the next season. 3rd place, I've gone for, just picked for 2nd, Manchester United. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to deliver now. He's got Rafael Varane coming, Jadon Sancho. What a signing he's going to be. He'll excite the fans from Borussia Dortmund. I think that's a good signing for them. They look a Cossack. They look a good side. I would expect them to be at least challenging for the Premier League, if not winning it this year. Go deeper into the Champions League, perhaps. They've got a chance. They do have a chance to try and go deeper into the Champions League, of course. But they've spent really well, I think. They'll be obviously looking for more players as well to bolster the squad. But I think Varane and Sancho definitely are 2 class signings, and Manchester United will be there and thereabouts. But I think they'll just finish just short of the top 2. But I would expect them to go deeper into the Champions League as the season plods on. 2nd, this might be touch controversial. I'm going for Manchester City, unfortunately. They will spend money. That's the thing. But spending money will put pressure on the team and Pep Guardiola. They just spent £100 million on Jack Grealish. Now, is he worth £100 million? I'm not so sure. But what I will say is, they are going hell for leather to retain that Premier League title. which is going to be a difficult thing. Winning it is one thing, defending it is quite another, and this is where Pep has got to come into his own now. He's back in his judgment. They're still pursuing Harry Kane. I've heard there's a bid of 140 million if reports are true going into Tottenham. There's rumours that Levy might sell to them. I don't know, but what I will say is the pressure's on them, and if they wilt or they get one or two injuries, especially towards the back or in defence or goalkeeper, then I think they could be knackered a little bit, and I think they might just finish short. But you know, if they have a good run, they could win it, but I'm just going to back them to finish second. The Premier League champions I'm going for is Liverpool. The reasons why they didn't have a particularly good season, although they did finish well towards the end, they've got the fans back. They'll have the cop. They'll have all the fans back. That made a huge difference when they won the league 2 years ago, even though they weren't still during the pandemic. But they had the title won by March of that season before everything stopped. Let's not forget that. They'll have Salah in form, Firmino, if they can keep those from free. They've lost Gini Ronaldo, but I think there's talk of Henderson going. But if I can keep the nucleus on the side, they've got Van Dijk and Gomez to come back. If they can stay injury free at the back, and the front three of Salah, Mane and Firmino are firing on all cylinders, because them three, even though they're a year older, they have got goals right in them, and I think they could do it. I really do think they can do it. There's hardly any pressure on them, considering that Manchester City is spending hundreds of millions of pounds left, right and centre and sticking pressure on themselves. But Liverpool have got a settled lineup, they've got a settled squad, and if they can stay injury free and have a consistent run in the league, then I think they've got to be title winning material, as far as I'm concerned. My Premier League table that's my Premier League final position predictions for 2020-21. Put your predictions down, full tables in the comments below. Don't forget, we've got the podcast on the Commentary Hub coming up, where we'll do more wider predictions for the Championship Leagues 1 and 2. That will be tomorrow evening live with John Kane. Hopefully I might be on there helping out as well. But as far as this video is concerned, this is just Premier League predictions. So let me think what your final league position is. I want it from 1st to 20th. Who do you think is going to win the league? Who's going to get Champions League, Europa League, or get relegated? Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear from you. And keep your comments clean and keep your comments respectful as well. Okay, let's all be kind at this stage of this difficult world we're living in right now. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit a like, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications bell, and I'll see you very soon. And you'll hear from me hopefully tomorrow, I think. But anyway, until then, have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, have the rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.